Chapter 7. Chunking Down, the Maze of Details. You don't love me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's break this down, like they do in a cooking show. What do you mean? At what moment? How exactly do I not love you? Introduction to the Art of Chunking Down. Imagine our consciousness as a vast labyrinth where magical creatures, our thoughts, have become lost. The linguistic focus we call chunking down acts as an experienced tour guide through this maze. It doesn't just clear a path, it transforms generalized beliefs, like giant dragons ready to swallow us whole, into simple, understandable elements, akin to harmless lizards. Like a sci-fi microscope, this tool allows us to examine every pixel, every detail of the enormous mosaic that once seemed an insurmountable wall. The essence of chunking down. Detailing as an art. Clarification as the search for truth. The metamodel as the philosopher's stone. How does it work? This magical mechanism. Picture a grand circus, where acrobats, jugglers, and trained bears perform. That's how our generalizations operate. Someone declares, "I'm a failure," and in their mind's eye, a massive circus arena appears, with all the spotlight focused on their failures. But our task is to become the backstage crew of this arena, allowing a glimpse behind the glamorous scenery to reveal a simple stage with ordinary people doing their best. Example: "I'm a failure" can transform into an incredibly engaging performance. In what specific way are you a failure? Can you not tie your shoelaces? Or perhaps your dance skills at weddings leave much to be desired. Or is it about a particular report that you think turned out worse than a passing grade in college? And just like that, as we start to break this multi-layered firework down into individual pops, all the pomp and drama fade away, leaving only cold, pliable facts. This is the linguistic magic of the meticulous analyst. Your job is to become a keen investigator, never taking generalizations at face value and always striving for the truth. The metamodel and chunking down, adventures in the world of precision. The metamodel in NLP is like a toolbox of magical instruments that could inspire legends. These tools are questions designed to clarify and refine our perception of the world, much like a skilled jeweler transforms a rough diamond into a flawless gem. Examples that will make you smile. All men are jerks. All of them? Your dad? Your grandfather? Or maybe you meant the famous Pope, the one in Vatican gear. Nobody appreciates me. Who, if I may ask? Name, surname, patronymic, passport number? Or are we talking about that recent meeting at work? Gestures of chunking down, hands as tools of magic. Let's imagine you're sifting through grains or working on creating a masterpiece from sand. You're actively slicing something large into smaller pieces, just like in a culinary battle. Finger movements, as if you're taking a tiny pinch or the sacred "okay" gesture with your bent thumb and index finger. These are symbols of precision and detailing that lend extraordinary sharpness to your vision. Application and effect, magic in action. Chunking down is not just a workout for your brain. It's an incredibly useful tool in any situation, especially where generalizations, you always, you never, become sources of tension and conflict. Chunking down brings earthly gravity to conflict, helping to focus on specific facts and circumstances. Let's break it down like an accountant at the end of the financial year. What exactly happened today at 8:30? Was it just a bad cup of morning coffee, not a universal conspiracy against you? The key question that opens many doors: how exactly? Conclusion: from the maze to clarity. Chunking down is an exhilarating journey from the general to the specific, from chaos to structured facts, as if you were dividing an ocean into manageable streams that are easy to navigate and understand. It's not just a way to achieve deep understanding, but also a powerful tool for dismantling illusions and stereotypes, much like sunlight disperses morning fog. In the next chapter, we'll embark on a new adventure to see how this method works in tandem with chunking up, creating a complete understanding of the situation, as if you're in the center of a rugby match, but with full control over the game. Profile of the pattern and professions. Imagine a person whose mind resembles incredibly precise microchips. Such a person tends to meticulously dissect every detail and is captivated by nuances and subtleties. They possess traits like being vengeful, nitpicky, and pedantic, which aren't always perceived positively, but find value within their professional activities. Their erudition and scrupulousness allow them to seek clarity and safety, and their external expression includes pointing gestures, precise hand movements, and pecking finger motions, reflecting their quest for accuracy. This linguistic focus is professionally embedded in lawyers, doctors, and auditors. Lawyers need detailing to build compelling arguments and find loopholes in legislation. Doctors must meticulously gather symptoms and analyze them to correctly diagnose specific illnesses. Auditors detail reports and finances, uncovering discrepancies and cooked numbers like master secret thieves of the corporate world. Humanistic utilization, guru's strategy. The humanistic approach to the chunking down pattern involves fostering a healthier perception of another person's judgments and beliefs. It's not about pointing out flaws or diminishing their significance. Instead, this approach helps people discover how their generalizations limit their possibilities. Ultimately, this method aids in expanding their worldview by adding new details that make it more complete and enriched. Examples: non-combat. 1. In life. A. I can never make the right decisions. B. What specific decision do you consider wrong? And could there be circumstances that influence that? 2. In business. A. Our team is always outdated in its approach. B. Are there specific examples when we fell behind? What aspects can we improve? 3. In relationships. A. You never listened to me. B. Can you give examples of when I didn't pay attention to your words? Maybe I was busy at that moment, but let's discuss how to fix that. 4. In self-development. A. I'm a terrible speaker and will never present well. B. What specific aspects of your presentations would you like to improve? Were there moments when you did manage well? By using these examples, we focus on creating support rather than criticism, paving the way for more constructive and positive understanding and interaction. Extended analysis, additional examples, and stories. You don't love me. How exactly did you come to that conclusion? At what specific moment? What did I do or not do? Introduction. Microscope and rapier. The linguistic focus of detailing or chunking down is the art of looking deeper. If generalization is a bird's eye view, then detailing is a microscope. We zoom in on a specific point and magnify it until the pathos and drama dissolve into dry facts. In the metaphor of martial arts, this pattern is akin to a rapier thrust. It's not a sweeping club strike or a sumo wrestler's power push. It's a precise, pinpoint movement aimed at the most vulnerable part of the structure, at the absence of facts. Gesture of the pattern. The gesture of detailing is a pecking motion with the fingers or squinting, as if you're threading a needle or adjusting focus. You're taking a pinch of reality and demanding it be examined under a magnifying glass. Reality strategy. There's no defense against a fact. One of the most powerful forms of detailing is the reality strategy. This is the ability to separate hallucinations and interpretations from the sensorially obvious experience. We live in a world of our maps and illusions. People constantly lie, often not out of malice, but simply because they confuse their thoughts with reality. He looked at me sideways. How exactly did he look? At what angle was his gaze tilted? What color were his eyes at that moment? When you start asking such questions, the magic of reading minds crumbles. Story: The taxi driver and 200 rubles. I had a situation that perfectly illustrates the power of this pattern. I hail a taxi. I need to get to the metro. The driver says, 300 rubles. I reply, I only have 200. He starts applying his negotiation techniques, trying to convince and bargain. Well, that's a normal price: gas, traffic, comfort. And I simply show him the bill and repeat, here are my 200 rubles. No others. Either we go for 200 or we don't go. And all his flexibility shattered against this fact. The reality strategy shuts down flexibility. When there's a concrete fact, in this case, the mere existence of only 200 rubles, no linguistic tricks, no other outcomes or redefinitions work. A fact is a fact. This example shows how detailing grounds any manipulation. If someone tries to talk you around, just return to the facts. Is there money in the account? No? Then there's been no payment. The truth is in the details, a cinematic metaphor. Remember the film The Invention of Lying? It's a brilliant illustration of a world where people only operate under the reality strategy. They speak only the truth, only what they see and think. How do you look? Bad. You've aged and gained weight. In such a world, it's impossible to take offense at "you don't love me," because when asked how exactly, you'd receive a comprehensive list of actions. But in our world, people live in generalizations. All men are, nobody appreciates me. Detailing is the remedy for these generalizations. How to apply scalpel questions. Your task is to be a nitpicker. Detailing is the pattern of professional nitpicking, splitting hairs. If someone says, "Everything is bad," you don't argue. You pull out your microscope. What exactly is bad? Are sales down? By how many %? In which region? For which product group? Often, it turns out that "everything is bad" is merely one client delayed payment by 2 days. The generalization created panic. Detailing returned the problem to a manageable size. Examples of breaking out of deadlocks. 1. You always interrupt me. Did I interrupt you right now? How about yesterday at dinner? Can you name 3 recent instances besides this one? Usually, the person can't recall specifics and the accusation crumbles. 2. I'm a failure. In what way? Can't you breathe? Can't you walk? Do you struggle with tying your shoelaces? Or is it about a specific project? 3. That's too expensive. Too expensive compared to what? Which specific part of the contract raises questions? The delivery cost? The raw material cost? Profile. Who are detailers? People for whom this pattern is habitual, profiled, are often perceived as meticulous, nitpicky, but very reliable professionals. These are lawyers, auditors, doctors, programmers. Their job is to find errors in details. They see a broken pixel on a massive 4K screen. They spot an extra comma in a 100-page contract. If you want to hack such a person, don't try to talk them around with general phrases. "We are a dynamically developing company." They will annihilate you with one question. What is the growth rate of net profit for the 3rd quarter? You need to speak their language, the language of numbers, facts, and precise measurements. Detailing is the death of emotions and the birth of solutions. When you break a huge, scary problem into 100 small tasks, fear disappears. What remains is simply a to-do list. Pattern map, chunking down. Working scheme of the pattern. Refer to it when practicing the technique. The section is built according to the formal model of the pattern and is intentionally presented dry, like a blueprint next to a painting. Definition and presupposition. Strict definition. Shifting focus down logical levels, deduction. Deconstructing generalization. Definition from the seminar, going into detail, breaking the complex into the simple, the general into the specific. Basic presupposition. Any generalization consists of details. In details lies the devil and the solution. The whole is not equal to the sum of its parts. Main function. Shifting focus from the general class to specific elements or steps, dismantling unfounded generalizations. Goal of application. To detail a statement by breaking it into constituent elements to find exceptions or discrepancies in the details. Focus shift. Where we're taking away from where we're bringing to. Question: what is it in general? Generalization. What does it consist of? What specific details? Detailing. Orientation abstraction / class specificity / element. Type of thinking global detailed / analytical. Psychological basis. Metamodel, clarifying questions. Who exactly? How exactly? Deduction. Why it bypasses resistance. It doesn't deny the problem entirely but starts to dig into it, which reduces emotional tension and shifts the conversation into a constructive direction. Operational algorithm. 1. Hear the generalization. Identify generalization words: all, always, nobody, it's terrible. 2. Ask a clarifying question. Inquire about a specific part, element, or step of the process. What exactly do you dislike? 3. Highlight the exception. Find a detail that doesn't conform to the negative generalization and focus on it. Linguistic markers. Say, what exactly? Who specifically? What details? How exactly? Which part? Let's break it down. Avoid leads to another pattern or destroys the effect. In general, it's all clear. Trigger words for recognizing the pattern in others' speech. What exactly? How exactly? Who specifically? Where exactly? Let's clarify. What details? Step by step. Nonverbal communication. Cutting, gestures, slicing the air with the palm. Tweezers, gesture, fingers pinched together as if picking up a small detail. Squinting, looking closely at details. Overall picture. Gesture of pinch as if holding a small object. Forward head movement, leaning in, cutting, hand gestures, dividing. Application scenarios. Work. Employee, the project has failed. Which part of the project isn't working? The interface, the database, or the logic? Perhaps only part of it has failed. Relationships. Partner, you never listened to me. When exactly did I not listen to you yesterday? At what moment? Purchase. Client, the car is bad. What exactly do you dislike? The engine, the color, the suspension. Learning dialogues. I can't do anything right. What specifically can't you do right? Get out of bed? Brush your teeth? Or write a report? All men are jerks. Who exactly? Your ex? Your father? Your boss? Or all 4 billion of them? That's too expensive. Which part is expensive for you? Materials, the craftsman's work, or delivery? I'm afraid to speak in public. What exactly are you afraid of? Forgetting your words? Being pelted with tomatoes? Or the microphone? How the pattern sounds in different psychotypes. Schizoid, loves details, easily drifts into specifications. Paranoid, seeks details to find a catch. Epileptoid, loves order and structure lists. Profile of the pattern bearer. Traits. Meticulous, nitpicker, analyst, picky, attentive, scrupulous, detective, auditor. Values. Details, precision, structure, facts, clarity. Professions. Auditors, accountants, lawyers, surgeons, programmers, detectives, Sherlock Holmes. Recognizable images. Sherlock Holmes, attention to detail, Columbo, just one little question, Dr. House, diagnosis. Utilization and connections. How they respond to this pattern. Chunking up, why dig into the minutiae? Let's look at the whole. Metaframe, you're just being a nitpicker. Analogy in analogy. Using metaphors of division, cutting the elephant into parts. Reality strategy. Metamodel questions for clarifying strategy. How exactly did you come to the conclusion that everything is bad? Typical connections. Chunking down reality strategy. What exactly isn't working? And how did you know that was it? Chunking down changing frame size. This detail isn't working, but in the grand scheme of the project, it's a minor issue. Related techniques. NLP, metamodel, clarification, goal decomposition, TOTE. Other, root cause analysis, 5 whys. Training. Exercise cutting the elephant. Take a large problem and break it into 10 smaller ones. Exercise nitpicker, ask clarifying questions about everything for 5 minutes.